The air split with a scream, sharp and raw, slicing through the lazy hum of a Saturday morning. I was halfway through my coffee, standing on the porch of our Pleasant Valley home, when I saw it. A stranger's hand clamped around my wife's wrist, her face twisted in pain and defiance. The mug slipped from my fingers, shattering on the concrete. 20 years of SWAT training surged through me like a live wire. In 6 strides, I was across the lawn, my elbow crashing into the man's shoulder, sending him sprawling into the grass. He gasped, face down, as my knee pinned his spine. His partner froze, hands half raised, eyes wide with the realization that they'd just stepped into a lion's den. This wasn't just a violation, it was war. And they had no idea who they were dealing with. Let's rewind. It was the kind of morning that tricks you into believing the world is gentle. The sun hung low, casting golden streaks across our front yard, where dew still clung to the blades of grass. Birds chattered in the oak tree by the driveway, and the faint strum of a jazz record drifted from the living room. My wife, Lena, was kneeling by the flower beds, her hands buried in the soil, coaxing her roses into bloom. Her dark hair was pulled into a loose bun, and she hummed softly, a melody she'd carried since our early days together. After 2 decades of chaos, 15 years in SWAT, 5 as a commander, and a final stint as a strategic advocate, sore-eyed, retired to this quiet corner of Pleasant Valley to build a sanctuary. This house, this lawn was our refuge. Or so I thought. My name is Jack Carver, and I've seen the worst humanity has to offer. Raids in crumbling warehouses, standoffs in bullet-riddled streets, moments where a single twitch could end a life. But nothing prepared me for the rage of seeing Lena's wrist in that stranger's grip. That morning, just past 9 a.m., the illusion of safety shattered. I was leaning against the porch railing, savoring the bitterness of my coffee, when I heard the crunch of gravel. A sleek, black SUV with tinted windows and no license plates rolled to a stop at our gate. My gut tightened. No plates. First red flag. 2 men stepped out, moving with the stiff precision of soldiers playing dress-up. Black tactical pants, black collared shirts with community standards unit embroidered in white, and military-style boots polished to a gleam. Earpieces dangled from their ears, and wraparound sunglasses hid their eyes. No smiles, no warmth, just the cold arrogance of men who thought they owned the ground they walked on. One carried a clipboard, the other chewed gum like it was a job requirement. From 30 feet away, I could tell they weren't HOA. No badges, no branded vests, no paperwork with official letterhead. Just props and attitude. Lena stood, brushing dirt from her hands, and offered a polite smile. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice steady but curious. They didn't bother with the gate's latch. The taller one, lean and clean-shaven, waved her over like she was a subordinate. His partner, broader, and shifted his weight, scanning the yard like he was casing it. I set my coffee down and pushed the screen door open, stepping onto the porch. Something was off, and I'd learned long ago to trust that instinct. "Ma'am," the tall one said, his tone clipped, "we've had complaints about unauthorized alterations to your property. Your flower beds violate Ordinance C. 19, Section 4.2. They're too close to the sidewalk." Lena blinked, her smile fading. "I'm sorry, what?" "We cleared this with the HOA board last year." Margaret, the chair, approved it in writing. The gum chewer stepped closer, crowding her space. "Our records don't show that," he said, his voice flat. "You'll need to sign this citation acknowledgement, or we'll escalate to a lien." I was off the porch before he finished. "Morning," I called, my voice calm but edged with steel. "You two got IDs?" They turned in unison, the tall one flashing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Sir, we're with the Regional Compliance Task Force. This doesn't involve you unless you're the property owner." Lena glanced at me, her expression a mix of confusion and unease. "He's my husband," she said. I held up a hand, cutting her off. "I'm asking for identification." "Who sent you?" A pause. The kind that hangs heavy before a raid goes south. The tall one's smile tightened. "Sir, you're escalating a simple matter. Let's keep this CIVYL. I took a step closer, my arms crossed. I'll ask again. Who authorized you to be here? The gum chewer flipped open his clipboard, thrusting it toward Lena. Ma'am, sign here, and we're done. Otherwise, we'll issue a formal summons, and that's a legal mess you don't want. That's what happened. The tall one reached for Lena's arm. His fingers grazed her shoulder, then slid down to her wrist, gripping it as he pointed to the clipboard. Right here, he said, his tone patronizing. Lena jerked back. Don't touch me, she snapped, but his grip tightened for a split second. Her cry sharp, pain cut through me like a blade. The mug hit the ground. Instinct took over. 6 steps down, 7 strides across the lawn. My elbow slammed into the tall one's shoulder, knocking him off balance. I twisted his wrist, using his momentum to drive him face first into the grass. He hit with a thud, air rushing from his lungs. My knee pressed into his spine, my hand clamping his collar to keep him down. The gum chewer spun, his hand twitching toward his belt. What the hell, man? He barked, but he froze when he saw my eyes. Move, I said, my voice low, loaded with 20 years of authority. He didn't. I said move. On your knees. Now. He dropped, hands raised, his bravado crumbling. Neighbors were already watching, curtains twitching, phones raised. Mrs. Larson across the street clutched her garden shears, her jaw set. Lena stood behind me, trembling but fierce, her eyes blazing. Are you okay? I asked, not taking my eyes off the man. She shook her head. He grabbed me, Jack. He wouldn't let go. Fury coiled tighter in my chest, but I kept it locked down. Control was my weapon. I reached inside the house, grabbing my secure radio or relic from my command days. Flipping to the encrypted channel, I spoke clearly. This is Commander Carver, retired. Code 604 in progress, Pleasant Valley, 217, Oak Lane. 2 suspects detained, impersonating officials, physical assault on a homeowner. Request immediate backup. Scene is under control. The response was instant. Copy, Commander. Units en route. ETA 4 minutes. The tall one groaned beneath me, his earpiece dangling loose. I leaned down, my voice a whisper. You picked the wrong yard. His partner, still kneeling, was sweating now, his gum forgotten on the grass. We didn't mean he started, but I cut him off. You don't touch anyone. You don't bully your way on a private property with fake badges and scare tactics. You're done. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. Blue and red lights flashed across the hedges as 2 cruisers pulled up. Officers Daniels and Ruiz stepped out, hands near their holsters but calm. I knew them both good cops, no nonsense. Daniels jogged over. Commander Carver, what's the situation? I nodded toward the men. Both detained. The one on the ground grabbed my wife's wrist after trying to intimidate her with a fake citation. They're impersonating HOA enforcement. No IDs, no plates on their vehicle, no legitimate paperwork. Ruiz approached the gum chewer, who was still kneeling. Hands behind your head, she said. He complied, cuffs clicking into place. I eased off the tall one, guiding his hands behind his back as Daniels cuffed him. The man glared up at me, defiance flickering in his eyes. You assaulted me, he spat. I tilted my head. You're lucky you're still breathing. Daniel smirked, just slightly, as he hauled the man to his feet. Lena sat on the porch steps, a neighbor pressing a glass of water into her hands. Her face was pale, but her back was straight, her eyes locked on me with a mix of pride and lingering fear. I walked over, crouching in front of her. You sure you're okay? She nodded, her voice soft but steady. I'm fine, Jack. Just shaken. I squeezed her hand, then turned back to the scene. Ruiz was inspecting the clipboard. This is garbage, she said, holding it up. No legal codes, no signatures. The logo's a cheap sticker. Daniels ran the SUV's VIN through his tablet, his frown deepening. Vehicles unregistered. No plates, no record. This is a ghost car. I crossed my arms. This isn't a one-off. You don't get custom uniforms and fake citations without a network. I want a full sweep. Daniels nodded. We've had reports of HOA scams in the county. Usually, They collect cash fines and disappear. This is the first time we've seen physical contact. He glanced at Lena, then back at me. You being here changed the game. I didn't respond. My focus was on the men, now seated in the cruisers, their heads bowed. The tall one's defiance had faded. The gum chewer looked like a kid caught stealing. The neighborhood was alive now. Kids peered from windows, adults gathered on lawns, phones recording every move. Old Mr. Hensley from next door shuffled over, his tablet trembling in his hands. I got all Jack, he said, his voice gruff. Every second. I nodded. Send it to me. We'll need it. Witnesses mattered. EVY Denke mattered. That's how you win, not just with force, but with proof. As the cruisers pulled away, the street fell quiet, but the air felt like the calm before a storm. Lena stood, brushing off her jeans. They scared me, Jack, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. They walked in like they owned us. I pulled her close, my arm around her shoulders. They'll never touch you again. I promise. But I knew this wasn't over. The men weren't lone actors, they were pawns in something bigger. That night, I sat at my desk, the porch cam footage playing on my laptop. Every frame burned into me. The SUV's arrival, the men's approach, the moment the tall one grabbed Lena. I sent the video to Daniels, along with my formal statement. By morning, the feds were involved. The SUV's VIN, though unregistered, matched a pattern in a multi-state HOA scam ring. These weren't just con artists, they were organized, targeting affluent neighborhoods with threats of fines and liens. Most VY Tims paid up, too intimidated to fight back. Most weren't me. 2 days later, our daughter, Emily, called from college. Dad, your VY rel. She'd posted a clip of the takedown on TikTok, edited with music and hashtags. The fake HOA, the Commander Carver, the Don't Touch My Mom. 10 million VYUs and counting. Morning shows reached out, dubbing me the home front hero. I ignored them. What mattered was Lena sleeping soundly again, her roses blooming untouched. What mattered was the call from the federal task force. My footage had cracked a digital trail, leading to 32 arrests across 6 states. The real HOA president, Margaret, showed up at our door, her face pale with guilt. We had no idea, she stammered. They used our name, our letterhead. I looked her in the eye. Real authority doesn't bully. It protects. She nodded, promising reforms, but I was already MOVYing on. I rebuilt the gate they'd pushed through, Leah VYing one panel slightly crooked, marked with a streak of black paint. A reminder, I'm retired from the force, but the fight for peace never ends. Out there, the world keeps turning, full of wolves in fake uniforms. But here, on this lawn, they'll always find a storm waiting. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.